I'm the Vice Chancellor of BPS Women University. It is a rural women university, the first one in North India. I'm the only one in India which is rural, multi-faculty, residential and imparting education from KG till PhD level. So we have a school, polytechnic, undergraduate, postgraduate and PhD. And these are the places where I think this knowledge economy is a must and which has to rather take benefit of this knowledge economy. And when I come to the presentation, I will say that I sail in the same boat in which Professor Dinesh Singh is for two reasons. First, I am the last speaker, and therefore I also have to say I concur, nothing else. And thank you, sir. And second, because I am also a mathematician like Professor Dinesh Singh, mathematician plus statistician, so I also unfortunately start with definitions. So definition, because His Excellency the High Commissioner from Sri Lanka, he started with what is knowledge. So what I start with is what is knowledge economy. So this is what is knowledge economy. Most of you present here would be knowing, but maybe for a little few who are still confused about what is knowledge economy, I'll just tell what is knowledge economy. When we talk of agricultural economy, land is the key resource. When we talk of industrial economy, natural resources are the key resource, which could be coal, iron ore, even labor. But when we talk of knowledge economy, knowledge is the key resource. And knowledge economy is an economy that creates, disseminates and uses knowledge to enhance the growth and development of a nation. And mind it, knowledge economy is not only about ICT revolution and high-tech industry, it is also the use of existing and advanced knowledge to improve the productivity of agriculture, industry, services and to increase the overall welfare of the country. And as far as India is concerned, India has a great potential to use this knowledge economy to move from low productivity sector to high productivity sector, maybe it is agriculture, industry or service. And then India has many key ingredients for making this transition in a much better way, and that is why I say that why India can benefit the most from knowledge economy, because 70% of the India is rural, and that's why I was saying that rural areas are the areas which need more of knowledge economy. So why India can benefit the most from knowledge economy is that first it has a critical mass of skilled English speaking knowledge workers, especially in sciences and engineering. It has a well functioning democracy. It has a domestic market which is one of the world's largest market. And then India does have a large and impressive diaspora, and that diaspora does have knowledge linkages as well as networks. Then India has macroeconomic stability. It has a dynamic private sector, a well-developed financial sector, and then it has diversified science and technology infrastructure, well-developed IT sector, and it is now a global provider of software industry, software services. So building on these strengths, India can harness the benefits of knowledge revolution to improve quality performance and to improve the welfare of its nation. Now we will talk about the 4 pillars of knowledge economy. Like when India is ready to embrace the knowledge economy, there are some issues which are strengths as well as weaknesses for India, which we can consider as the 4 pillars of knowledge economy. And these are the 4 pillars. We will be discussing each one of them in short, but the second one, which is developing educated and skilled workers, a little more because it is an educational summit. So first pillar of knowledge economy is strengthening the economic and institutional reform. Now here again, India has some strengths as well as India has some weaknesses. The strengths are that India has a critical mass of educated workforce, especially again I say in engineering and sciences. It has abundant raw material, even better than China. It has a strong infrastructure for supporting private enterprises. It has an advanced legal system, independent judiciary, secure property rights and good corporate governance. And all this should allow India to emerge as a major hub for manufacturing and service sector, as this has been done by China also. But then there are some barriers like multiplicity of regulations governing product markets. There are widespread government ownership of businesses, and this has led to a little reduced GDP for the country. There is a relatively closed economy. When we talk of share of exports in the GDP, we are almost half as compared to say China or Korea. India is around 15%, whereas China is 33% and Korea is 38%. So what we need is that we have to speed up trade reforms, we have to strengthen the IPR, we have to increase the FDIs, we have to simplify the use of procedures, and we have to use the ICT to improve the transparency. Next is developing educated and skilled workers. Now, you all know that education is fundamental enabler of knowledge economy. Without education, we cannot think of knowledge economy. And well-educated and skilled manpower is essential for creating, because they are the people who will create knowledge, who will share knowledge, and who will disseminate and use knowledge effectively. So that is what we already have. And knowledge economy demands, especially in the 21st century, the knowledge economy demands not only ICT skills, but also soft skills such as problem solving, analytical skills, group learning, teamwork, and effective communication. And how can we achieve it? How do we get this? And this needs an education system that is flexible. And then we are talking about the three areas. One is basic education for building foundation. Second is higher education for developing core skills and to encourage creative and critical thinking. And third is lifelong learning for skill updation, which is more often talked about right now. When we talk of our basic education, we do need investment in basic education, which is crucial and essential to improve the productivity and quality of labor and to deliver the manpower needed for their development. Now, it is the basic education which has produced China, which has made China as a major manufacturing hub. Like even if you go to USA, UK, anywhere, you will find things made in China. So that is how they have done it, and we can also do it. Then our literacy rate has improved tremendously, but again, India accounts for almost 1/4 of 104 million children who are out of school, and we are trying to improve it through Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 and other things like Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan and other schemes of the government, but we do need to do a lot more. And then apart from improving the access, the quality remains a key issue which has to be looked into. Coming to higher education, India does have a large pool of highly educated manpower for local and global needs, but that total manpower constitutes a small fraction. By numbers it may be large because India is a large country, but when we talk of fractions, it is a very small fraction. And what we need is to create a sustained cadre. We need a sustained cadre of knowledge workers who will develop, and for this we need to develop a more relevant education system and reorient classroom teaching and learning objectives which promotes creativity. I mean, it is not only school teaching or something, we have to give more emphasis on learning. Higher education seems to be more demand driven, quality conscious and forward looking right now. And the problem is when we talk of demand driven, see in our country right now at national level or even at the state level, we don't have any applied manpower survey. So we do not know that from say 20 years from now, how many doctors will be needing, how many engineers would be needing, and maybe in doctors, how many from cardiology, how many from eye specialists, how many from renal. So we don't have that data. So we do not know how we should focus our education to produce the manpower which will be required in times to come. And then there is a mismatch between education and labor market, because what we are teaching is not what industry wants. And at times now we are having a concept of finishing schools. Like after finishing the college, the children go through the finishing schools and then they become employable. So we should have some methodology of amalgamating finishing schools with the college or the university education. And then of course we should be using ICT, distance learning for enhancing access. We learned in the morning Jordan is having 43% GER, where we are having just 15%, and our target is also not more than 25% or 30% by the end of 12th plan. So we do need to increase access. But again, when we talk of increasing GER, we have to emphasize more on the school education, because school education will form the base from where the children will come to the higher education. Then we come to vocational education, because skills are more important in competitive global market. And when we say, I mean, just most of the times we are talking of high-tech areas and firms and all, but firms and farmers, they both must learn and develop new skills. Then we have to improve skill and education level for masses through vocational education apart from higher education. And then there has to be a consistency between the skills taught and the need of the knowledge economy. So whatever skills we are teaching to our people, that should be directly usable. And then we have to develop a system of lifelong learning through formal system of education, that is through schools, ITI, polytechnics, through non-formal learning, which is structured on-the-job training and all, and then informal learning, which is the skills learned from family, community and all. And fortunately or unfortunately in India, whenever we talk of skills, it is generally the informal learning. Like you'll never see a plumber coming to your house who is educated through an ITI or something. They just learn the skill through informal learning. Next area was creating an innovation system. We have to create an innovation system. India has been lucky enough to do a remarkable job of diffusing knowledge and technology, especially in agriculture. We had Green Revolution long back, and with the Green Revolution, India became a country which was a net exporter of food grains from a net importer of food grains. Then we had White Revolution. White Revolution gave us twin gains. One was of raising income of rural poor families, and the other was of raising the nutritional status. And then India built on its innovative domestic strengths and undertake efforts to improve the productivity of agriculture, industry and service sector further. Now, one thing which most of the speakers earlier have also been telling, we have to improve our R&D infrastructure, and it is a pity that in our country, 70% of the R&D is done by the government sector, 27% by the public sector enterprises, including private sector enterprises, and only 3% of R&D is done by our universities and higher educational institutions. So this has to be improved drastically, which can be done only through investing more and more on the research and development. Then we do need to build a dynamic information structure. And when we talk of information structure, it is not only called telecommunication network, but it is also telecommunication network plus strategic information systems, policy and frameworks, and skilled human resources. And the use of ICT, we need to use the ICT for, the ICT is of course used for reducing transaction costs and lowering the barriers of time and space, and IT is also essential. IT is the essential backbone of knowledge economy. And of course India is making use of ICT, because if you talk of mobile phones, Indian mobile telephone is the cheapest in the world and the largest in the world. And then we are making use of ICT through various schemes like National Knowledge Network and PITL and NAMI ICT and all. So in the end, I will say that India was a latecomer to the Industrial Revolution, but it cannot afford to miss the knowledge revolution. So let us not miss it, and we must convert our demography. If we are talking about demographic dividend, it should not be converted into a disaster. So we have to convert our demography into a dividend using knowledge economy. Thank you.